Ever wonder if all those hours you spend jamming out to music could actually be like low-key helping you learn English?
Interesting question.
Yeah, so we're going to dive into some research today that might just surprise you. We're looking at a study from the Journal of English Language Teaching and Learning,
Oh, cool.
where researchers surveyed 100 English education students
Oh.
about their music habits and how all that listening affects their language skills.
I'm intrigued. What's so special about this particular study?
But what's fascinating is how deep they went.
Okay.
They didn't just ask about, listening habits.
Right.
They actually designed specific listening exercises
Oh, wow.
and analyzed how exposure to English songs impacted the students' performance.
Oh,
So pretty thorough.
that's cool. So, what'd they learn about these students' listening habits?
So the first thing that kind of jumps out is just how much music these students are consuming.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking 5 to 6 hours a day on average.
Really?
And here's the kicker. Most of them prefer listening to English songs,
Huh.
even more than music in their native language.
That's interesting.
So that's a lot of English exposure.
Yeah, tons. But does it actually, make them better at understanding English?
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
And the researchers found some pretty compelling evidence that it does.
Really?
In one exercise, they played audio clips with various accents
Yeah.
and background noise.
Okay.
And the students who regularly listened to English songs
Yeah.
were significantly better at picking out specific words and phrases.
Huh. So it's almost like training your ear, right?
Yeah.
To tune into the nuances of English pronunciation.
Exactly.
Even when there's distractions and stuff.
Even in challenging listening environments.
Yeah. It's like building up that auditory processing power.
Exactly.
Did they find anything else?
Yeah. The researchers also found that students who listened to English songs
Mm-hmm.
were better at parsing grammatical structures,
Oh, interesting.
like recognizing the difference between present perfect and past simple, for example.
I could see how that would help. Like the rhythm and repetition in music,
Yeah.
It's like you're internalizing the patterns of the language.
That's a great point. And the study also highlights the role of music in,
Yeah.
boosting memory. Think about it. How often do you find yourself effortlessly singing along
Oh, yeah.
to songs you haven't heard in years?
All the time. It's kind of crazy how music just sticks with you.
Right. And the researchers believe that this same principle
Mm-hmm.
applies to language learning.
Okay.
So by embedding vocabulary and grammar structures within, catchy melodies and rhythms,
Yeah.
music can make it easier for the brain to store and retrieve that information.
So it's not just about rocking out to your favorite tunes, right?
Right.
It's about strategically using music to
Yeah.
actually learn the language.
So it's about harnessing its power
Right.
to make language learning more effective.
Exactly. The study also mentions this idea of top-down processing in listening comprehension.
Okay, break that down for me.
Sure. Top-down processing is basically when we use our background knowledge and expectations to make sense of what we're hearing.
Okay.
And music can prime our brains for this by
Okay.
introducing us to a variety of themes, vocabulary, and cultural contexts.
Got it. So it's like
Yeah.
giving our brains a sneak peek of the language in action, making it easier to connect the dots when we encounter those words and concepts in other situations. Right?
You got it. The researchers actually found that students who listened to English songs were better at figuring out the meaning from context, even when they came across words they didn't know.
Really?
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, right. So it's not just about memorizing individual words. It's about
Right.
developing a more holistic understanding of
Yeah.
how the language all fits together.
And that brings us to another fascinating finding of the study.
Oh.
The impact of music on critical thinking skills.
Ooh. Now that's interesting. How does just listening to music make you a better critical thinker?
Well, the researchers found that students often engaged in deep analysis
Okay.
and interpretation of the lyrics,
Yeah.
connecting them to their own experiences and values and beliefs.
So they're not just passively listening, they're
Right.
actively thinking about the meaning and the message of the song.
Yeah, using music as a jumping off point for deeper reflection and exploration of ideas.
Exactly. And, that process of active listening,
Yeah.
analyzing and interpreting can really strengthen those critical thinking muscles.
Yeah, totally. It's encouraging students to think beyond the surface level
Right.
and really engage with the nuances of language and meaning.
And that active engagement, that's key.
Yeah.
The researchers, they emphasize that just having music on in the background
Right.
might not be enough to get all the benefits.
So
it's about paying attention, engaging with the lyrics, and actively trying to understand, like, what the song is trying to say.
So it's about being a mindful listener, not just a passive consumer of music.
Exactly. Now, the study was mainly focused on the impact of music on, individual listening skills.
Okay.
But the researchers also pointed out the potential for using English songs in the classroom.
Yeah, it's cool.
To create a more engaging and effective learning environment.
That's a great transition. In part 2, we'll dig into the specific ways that teachers can harness the power of music to boost their students' learning.
Sounds good.
But for now, what really stood out to you from this first part of the study? What's, the biggest takeaways so far?
I think what's most compelling is this idea that music can engage so many different cognitive processes that are, essential for language learning. It's not just about vocab or grammar.
Yeah.
It's about memory, attention, pronunciation, and even critical thinking.
So it's like music is like a multivitamin for the language learning brain.
I like that analogy. It's a more holistic and engaging approach to language acquisition.
Yeah.
Tapping into that natural rhythm and emotional power of music to make learning more effective and enjoyable. So we saw how music can help individual learners, but how can teachers actually bring this into the classroom?
Right. It's not just about putting on a playlist and hoping for the best.
Yeah, exactly.
There's real thought that needs to go into how to use music strategically.
For sure. One of the easiest ways is to use songs as a lead-in to new topics.
Okay.
Let's say you're teaching about environmental issues.
Right.
You could start with a song like Big Yellow Taxi by Joni Mitchell.
Oh, yeah.
It gets students thinking about the theme before you even open a textbook.
Yeah, that's a great example.
Yeah.
And I imagine there are songs out there for just about any topic.
Oh, absolutely.
It's way more engaging than just reading definitions.
Way more. And it helps create an emotional connection to the material, which we talked about before. That's so important for memory and motivation.
The study also mentioned using music to work on specific pronunciation challenges.
Oh, yeah.
How would that work?
Well, let's take the "th" sound, which can be really tricky, instead of just drilling it over and over.
Yeah.
A teacher could use a song like Don't Stop Me Now by Queen, which has tons of the words.
Right.
Students can sing along, focusing on that sound in a natural way.
That's fun. Much better than those old school pronunciation drills.
Right. Plus, they're hearing the rhythm and intonation, which is just as important.
And music can help with grammar too, right?
Totally. Imagine teaching the past perfect tense.
Okay.
A song like Yesterday by the Beatles naturally uses that tense.
Right.
It gives students a real example to analyze.
So it's like embedding the grammar in a memorable context.
Exactly.
What about using music to get discussions and debates going in class?
Definitely. Songs often talk about complicated themes or different perspectives.
Right.
A teacher could use a song like Imagine by John Lennon to talk about peace, or Blowin' in the Wind by Bob Dylan to discuss social change.
That's a cool idea.
It brings these abstract ideas to life and gets them thinking critically.
While still connecting with the emotion of the music.
And it gives students a safe space to explore different viewpoints in English.
The study also talked about intensive and extensive listening.
Oh, right.
Can you explain the difference?
Sure. Intensive listening is when you really zoom in on specific details.
Okay.
Like identifying keywords or analyzing grammar.
Got it.
A teacher might play a song snippet a few times, having students write down the lyrics or answer questions.
So that's like a focused approach.
Exactly.
And then extensive listening.
That's more about getting the big picture.
Okay.
Developing fluency and just enjoying the language.
Okay.
A teacher could have students listen to a whole album and then share their thoughts.
So it's about finding a balance.
Yeah, between focused analysis and just immersing yourself in the language.
That sounds like a good mix to keep students engaged.
It is. And it's like how we use language in real life, right?
Right.
We need to focus on details sometimes, but also understand the bigger picture.
I'm curious about using music to create a more relaxed classroom,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
like to reduce anxiety.
Music can totally change the mood.
Yeah.
Imagine starting class with a fun, upbeat song or playing calming music during a tough task.
It's like setting the soundtrack for a positive learning experience.
Exactly.
And that can make students feel more comfortable and confident.
For sure. And it builds community when students connect through music.
To wrap up this part, we've seen teachers use music in so many ways.
Yeah.
To introduce topics, teach pronunciation and grammar, start discussions,
Right.
even create a relaxed learning environment.
It's amazing.
But what's the key takeaway about using songs in the classroom?
I think the most important thing is to use music intentionally, not just as something fun to add on.
So it should be part of the plan.
Yeah, when it's part of the curriculum, music can really boost listening skills, improve pronunciation, and encourage critical thinking.
So it's about going beyond just background music.
Exactly.
Now, let's switch gears a bit.
So we've talked about all the cognitive benefits and
Yeah.
how teachers can use music in the classroom.
Uh-huh.
But there's another piece we haven't really touched on yet.
Yeah.
The emotional side of using music to learn a language.
Right. Music is so powerful when it comes to emotion.
Yeah, it can really make you feel things.
Exactly.
Even if you don't understand the words,
Yeah, totally.
you can still feel the joy or the sadness in a song.
It's like a universal language.
Right.
And that connection can be really powerful for language learners.
I can see that. If a song really resonates with you,
Yeah.
you're more likely to want to understand the words, right?
Exactly. And it
Well-
can make learning so much more fun.
Yeah. When you're enjoying it, you're more likely to stick with it. For sure. And the study also talked about how music can build confidence.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Well, think about that feeling you get when you finally nail the lyrics to a song you love.
Oh, yeah.
That feeling of, I did it.
It's a good feeling.
Right. And those little wins can really boost your confidence.
I bet. It makes you feel more capable as a language learner.
Exactly. And then there's the whole cultural aspect of music. It's like
Yeah.
a window into different cultures.
Like their values, their history.
All of that. And their struggles, too.
It helps you see the world from different perspectives.
And that can be really eye-opening,
Yeah.
both personally and for your language learning.
As we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
what's the one thing you really want listeners to remember about music and language learning?
I want them to remember that music is more than just something nice to listen to.
Right.
It's a tool that can actually help you learn,
Yeah, totally. Like a secret weapon.
Kind of, yeah.
It can make learning more fun,
Yeah.
more effective,
Oh.
and help you connect with other cultures.
So I encourage everyone listening to, really use music to their advantage.
Yeah. Explore different genres.
Yes.
Connect with the emotions in the music.
Exactly.
And use it to learn about the world.
Let music be your guide on this language learning journey.
I love it.
Yeah.
Who knows what you might discover?